when they called me and told me that, I had just found out I was pregnant with my oldest son. And it was April Fool's Day, so it was kind of strange anyway. But the initial thought was, that can't be right. How is that possible? I'm 27 years old. That doesn't happen. But once they told me what it was and kind of did some searching on the internet, the hardest part then was, how do you tell your family? So that was probably my biggest distress initially, was how do you tell your husband, how do you tell your parents, hey, I have cancer?
Do you mind sharing with us how you did that?
Sure.
And how they reacted to it?
Yeah, well, it kind of worked out nicely that my parents and my oldest brother were actually coming to my house that evening and had dinner with me. And my husband was home at the time, and I was still on the telephone pulling it up on the internet to see what exactly it was, and he came downstairs and he was like, what are you looking at? And so then I told him and what they had said and everything. And then when my parents came up, it took a minute to like kind of come around to that, but they knew I was expecting the phone call to get my biopsy results that day, so then they asked. And so I told them, and you know, initially you have tears and it's like hard to deal with, but once you kind of can accept it yourself, it's a whole lot easier. I think it's much easier, like for me, myself to have it than if like one of my family members told me that they were sick. Like then you're kind of out of control, you can't handle it, you don't know what to do to really help them. But like me, myself, I could deal with it a whole lot better, and then it was kind of taking care of everyone else and making sure they were okay with me being a cancer patient.
Were there any specific coping strategies you tried to implement, maybe some of the things you learned along your way with what you do?
Well, a lot of it was just talking in general and explaining to my parents, don't get on the internet and read all the statistics and things, because they don't understand all the medical jargon. And like, they just need to come to me directly, ask me the questions. And I was more prepared too with like, when it came to talking to my doctors, you know, I knew I needed to have a list of questions, prepare myself. So I think it made it a whole lot easier in that terms. You have to accept it yourself first. But I think it's probably easier for me because I've seen so much and I understood so much, and I've seen so many people being so much worse off, that for me initially it was like, well, I'm gonna have surgery, it's okay, I can handle that and move on. And once I was fine, it was easy to calm everybody else down, like, no, really, I'm really okay, it's really fine, we can really deal with this and it'll be okay.
How did you feel when treatment had completed or treatment was over?
Well, the first time, I've actually had cancer 4 times. The first 3 was a rare breast cancer and had surgery for each of those. The last time, well, the 3rd time they did radiation treatments because the type of cancer I had but didn't respond to radiation and chemo. It was just surgery. So then the last time they were like, well, we're going to go ahead and try radiation because there was some research saying that that might help prevent it from coming back, and since it was the 3rd time, we were just going to do everything we could. So we did radiation the 3rd time. And then the 4th time I had cancer, it was actually sarcoma in my chest muscle, probably from the radiation, which initially when I found that tumor, I assumed it was going to be the breast cancer back, which was upsetting. But actually when they told me it was sarcoma, I know they were all kind of upset because they were like, well, it's from the radiation, we probably shouldn't have done that. But in my mind, it was a good thing because obviously the radiation took care of the breast cancer and I can deal with sarcoma, that's fine. You just cut it out again. You know, still I consider it a triumph because we had gotten rid of the breast cancer. So after the radiation treatments were completed, that was a celebration. And then the sarcoma, we did surgery again. Had to do a couple of surgeries with that too. Then I had to do physical therapy for 3 months because I lost, they weren't sure how much movement I'd actually get back in my arm because I had to remove my pec muscle and take a muscle from my back and move it to the front. But all in all, like after everything was done, after you finish going to therapy and everything for days and days and days, it's like then you're kind of like, well, what now? So like you're happy, like I can move good. Then you're like, well, You know, that took so much of my life and so much time. What do I focus on now? So then it's like you can finally get back to the happy times, and you can focus on family and doing more fun things. And I think when you have cancer and you go through something like that, or even just some kind of trauma, you really learn to focus more on the happy, good times and spend more time focusing on happy things and finding positive than being like, oh, well, it's me again, and just getting all depressed. That's one of the biggest challenges, too, is you can be like, why me, why me? But then I have these little spunky kids that keep me going, keep me smiling, and I have to keep going for them.